Blackhawks have allowed just 2 first-period goals in their last 10 games. None tonight. They lead 3-0 after 1. We're looking at our top 5 memories between the Blackhawks and Avalanche in the playoffs. Back in '96, Barry, double overtime. Sandis Oslins wins the game.
Well, that's why they got Oslins. We always said he was dangerous at both ends of the rink. He jumped in the play and got a huge offensive goal.
Avs went on to win the Cup that year. Meanwhile, the Capitals beat the Oilers 1-0 at home, and the Blue Jackets and Ducks, no score after 1. NHL tonight after the game, E.J. Raddick joins us. We'll take a look at Brian Boucher's magical run, our top 10 unbreakable records of all time, Cinderella Soiree, and E.J. talks about his experience at the World Juniors in Finland right after the game.
Adjust your set. That score is correct. It's the Blackhawks leading the Avalanche by a score of 3-0. Dave Strader back along with Ray Ferraro. Never thought that I'd quote Barry Melrose, but I'm going to use one of his quotes. He likes to say will beats skill. Well, guess what? There was a lot more will from that Chicago team than there was skill from the Colorado team.
Well, the noted poll, Melrose is correct in this first period. Chicago completely outworked Colorado all through the period. They physically pushed them around. They went to the front of the net better. Their goaltender didn't have much to do. He made the saves that he had to make, but Philip Sauve, who's back in net for Colorado, really had a tough time in that first period. But what Tony Granato has to be more concerned with is the guys that played in front of him, because they were not very good.
Well, if you're going to be down, though, on the road 3-0, then you want some of that skill.
you do want skill over them, because will only take you so far. You'll just keep shooting it into the end boards all night.
And a foot goes back to touch up an icing call on the Hawks here early on. And let's take you back to that first period and show you the 3 goals scored by the Blackhawks.
Scott Nichol gets the Blackhawks on the board first. He gets around the back of the net. Sauve does not move side to side very well, and he slides it between them. Here, Mark Bell with a nice play pushes Connor Walchuk out to the side and puts in the rebound, and Sauve misplays this third one, and the puck ends up in the net again as Tuomo Ruutu makes it 3-0.
Well, let's see how the Colorado Avalanche respond, because you know Tony Granato had to read them the riot act. As here is Hayden to the front of the net, quick redirection, and that was Foot who jumped in again. He has tied a career high with a 4-game point streak coming into this one here tonight. Here is Sullivan. Sullivan to the front of the net, save made by Sauve. Sullivan, Bell, Zhamnov. That line has just been terrific here so far for Brian Sutter. Zhamnov with the intercept, plays it off the boards.
It's important for the Avs not to try and get all 3 goals here in the first couple of minutes, and you give up a couple of man advantage breaks. 3 goals is somewhat manageable for them. They do average over 3 goals a game on the road, but if they get down 4 and 5 trying to get back quickly, you're not going to get back in the game.
Deep pass for Heino. Stefan Robidas stepped up in the neutral zone. Well, all of a sudden, the Chicago Blackhawks just look so much quicker than I've seen them this year.
A couple of days of rest does wonders for you, and also combined with the fact is how well they've played, as Colorado's been back on their heels, and the Blackhawks have been terrific.
The late offside is finally whistled down, and well, you touched on at the very top of the show, Alex Zhamnov. A lot of trade rumors, as many as 6 teams reportedly interested in the former All-Star. Zhamnov pain-free, he says, from the back surgery, Ray, and there's a lot of teams, including Vancouver, Detroit, New Jersey, that would love to add this guy to their lineup.
And he would be a great fit in any one of those teams. He's highly skilled, he kills penalties, and he's good on the draw. He's also an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, so if the Blackhawks are going to get anything for him, it's going to be in the next little while.
Here's Paul Correa backhands it toward the net. Late in the save, started to give up a rebound, but quickly covers up. Well, Thursday night, perennial playoff teams meet once again. A rematch of a game seen by some of you on ABC yesterday, as it will be the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Dallas Stars. NHL on ESPN, Made in America, delivered on Thursday at 9 Eastern. Jason Arnott, who you see there, has been kind enough to consent to wear a microphone, so we'll have some on-ice audio. Also, the first NHL on ESPN HD game of the season. High definition, some great audio, and a great matchup.
The HD is unbelievable, isn't it?
Well, we're going to have Barry Melrose apparently at ringside as a reporter. Can you imagine a close-up of him in high def?
There's got to be a lot of makeup there.
Correa backhands into the corner. Larson now goes to Sakic. Here is Joe Sakic wearing the protective face mask. That broken jaw, he sustained, and Sakic, I was going to say, got to be called for a penalty here as he lost the puck to Berard, and then he said, well, you know what, I got the football style helmet on, maybe I can get away with a tackle.
Well, NFL playoff weekend is not going to help Joe Sakic. He makes a mistake here, and Brian Berard, who can really skate, gets out in front of him. Sakic knows he's the last man back, and he hauls him down. Just another case of the Avalanche not being sharp. Sakic's got to get that puck in deep where the rest of his team is. He's the only guy standing at the blue line. Another mistake, and the Blackhawks go on their third power play.
0 for 2 so far, so they haven't been able to muster anything on their power play, yet they lead this powerful Colorado team 3-0.
Brian Sutter said if there's one area his team could be better at all year long, it would be the power play. And as I said earlier, that's where they really miss a guy like Eric Daze. And of course, Jamnok was out for the good part of the season. Those are two of their best power play guys.
Well, they only average about 3 power play opportunities a game over the last 5-6 games. This already being their third. And Sullivan sends it deep. Quickly the Blackhawks move it out on the perimeter. Here's Jamnok with it. Jamnok back to the line. Berard back to Jamnok. They continue to throw it back to Fort Jamnok, but drive. It's blocked. He picks up the clearing attempt. Circles back. Hands it off for Sullivan. Sullivan brings wide for Berard. Back to Jamnok straight away. Sullivan takes the one-timer. Goes back to Berard. Now Berard looks again out to the line. Jamnok is there. Drives the shot. Save made so big. Boy, that shot had something on it. Now to Berard, a one-timer deflected in front. And Mark Bell will chase it down. Tries to go back to the point. Intercepted and cleared by Steve Morris.
You know, we've talked a lot about Alexei Jamnok already in the broadcast, but he has great patience with the puck. He gets up on top of the point, holds the puck till the shooting lane opens up. If not, he dishes it off to the side. You can really see why he's such a terrific player.
We're at the United Center here in Chicago. The NHL on ESPN2. Chicago Blackhawks hosting the Colorado Avalanche. Dave Schrader along with Ray Ferraro. Now Butcher Grass, Barry Melrose back in our studios. As the Avalanche able to clear this puck back into the Chicago zone. Babchuk plays it ahead. Here is Tyler Arneson now for Jerome Orutu. Has one of the 3 Chicago goals. Babchuk a quick shot and deflected by Sauvé. Up onto the netting and out of play. Now there's Philippe Sauvé, whose father, Bob Sauvé, was a goaltender.
Now a player agent for many top players in the National Hockey League. And Sauvé had come into this game playing pretty well. As you see, his numbers really struggled in the first period on pucks from behind the net that were taken to the front. 2 of the 3 Blackhawk goals originated behind the goal line. And a lot of that's an indication of a guy that hasn't played a whole lot, not very comfortable moving side to side in the net.
One of 3 active goaltenders, part of a father-son combination. Brent Johnson's dad, Bob, played professionally. John Graham's father, Ron, played as well. So the real test here for Philippe Sauvé, as you mentioned, having not played a lot, now he's facing a situation where he's given up 3. He knows he's got a high-powered team in front of him, Ray, but he can't afford to give up the next one.
No, and that's what that has to be his thought process, is that if I can keep it at 3, we've got a chance. And he made a great save on the power play on Jamnok, so he's had a good start to the second period.
Colorado averaging exactly 3 goals a game on the season coming in. That ranks 3rd in the National Hockey League. Larson for Colorado, played it off the board. Now Forsberg sends it deep, looking for Hayduk. Move it off for the Blackhawks, trying to clear it. Hayduk gets a stick on it again. Now it comes to Forsberg in the corner. Walks out along the board. Romanov stays right with him. Now Hayduk had it knocked away. Avalanche somehow kept it in the zone. Now Arneson able to clear. It went off the stick of Lyles. Here comes Ruutu with it. Ruutu takes a look, winds up, doesn't shoot. Now lets it go. The save made by Sauvé.
If he gets that puck over to Berard a little quicker, he has a 2-on-1. He lost a 2-on-1, but he made a nice play patience-wise.
Front of the net, here come the Avalanche. Layton is down. Here's a shot. Layton, the save, rebound, Moore scores! Steve Moore will get his 2nd goal of the season on a 2nd effort, so it's not one of the big all-stars that gets the job done for Colorado.
The puck goes to the front of the net, and in the scramble, nobody picks up Moore. He shoots it once and walks in, puts his rebound away. Jamnok came off the bench late on a change, and Moore was graduate of Harvard, so I assume he's the one smart guy we were talking about in the first period, puts in his own rebound.
No genius malaise there for the Harvard student. Here's Sakic trying to at least one quick first shot of him.
Scored by number 36.
Here comes Sullivan trying to use the defenseman scratch it with the screen.
This is an important time for the Blackhawks. They have a 3-1 lead, but the Avs now show some signs of life. They really want to have a good forechecking shift. They have their best line on the ice.
Sullivan tried to set up Jamnock. Jamnock wheels and fires, save, made, rebound, it's there! And Sullivan couldn't tee it up, or he may have had an open net to shoot at. Lead pass. Correa's outside. Puck check by Leighton, knocks it away.
That was really close to Paul Correa going in uncontested. Darren Quinn made a nice play getting his stick on him. Correa was not able to handle the pass for Moore.
Avalanche from behind the row net. Now Peter Worrell cuts into the Chicago zone. Backhands it in on Leighton, and he makes the stop. Now Steve Moore has gotten the Colorado Avalanche on the board, but they're going to need the likes of this guy, Paul Correa, if they're going to complete this comeback. 3-1 Blackhawks leading the Avalanche. Steve Moore has just scored for Colorado. Peter Worrell was waiting during the break there to see, is my line going to stay on the ice? What's Chicago going to do? Granato decides to sit the big guy down.
Almost any time there's an offensive zone face-off, you're going to see either Forsberg or Sakic line out on the ice.
There's Foot. Lost it in on Leighton, who thought was going to juggle it, but he hangs on. Let's go back to the studio. John Butchgrass.
Brian Boucher gave up a goal. However, his teammates now want to try to get him a win. They're down 1-0. Big hit Shane Doan. Damon Lenko steps in. Twisted wrister. Ties the game at 1. Coyotes win this game. They're 7th in the Western Conference.
Oh, how about that? NHL.com for scores, stats, fantasy, and the official score of the NHL. NHL.com. If it's hockey, it's here. Even with a drive and a save made there by Sauvé. Sullivan tried to send it right back to the front of the net. Willie Neiman, a former Colorado Avalanche. Chatting with some of his former mates this morning at the game here at the United Center. And battling there against Tanguay. Avalanche able to clear. Forsberg chasing after it. Quint just stays in front of him. And that allows Strudwick to come up with it now for the Blackhawks. Sullivan back to back. Neiman in. Redirects it into the Colorado zone.
Colorado wants to break out as quickly as they can, but Chicago Blackhawks are back in a 5-man skating backwards trap. They don't want to get too tentative. This is what happens. The player comes in with speed.
Worrell sets up the scoring chance. Leighton made the stop with a rebound. It was jabbed at, but the Hawks got to it and cleared. Lead pass for Worrell. He set up the last chance. Is he going to get one here? He's taken down. And no call coming. The Chicago player apparently got the puck as well, but then Colorado coaching staff is letting the officials hear about it as the officials skate by.
Sometimes I wonder if officials anticipate a play as well. Peter Worrell was clearly in behind the defense. It'd be interesting to see on another look if the puck was hit first.
Here is Lyles now for the Avalanche, bouncing it in wide of Leighton. Berard gets there for the Blackhawk defense, hands it off for Robidoux. Now for Joel Marutu, who's taken into the board. Arneson able to get it down to Berard, jumping up into the play. Berard, wrist shot save, Sauvé, rebound is stopped by Sauvé as well. And the puck is cleared by Heino, back into the Chicago zone.
3 times in the second period, Brian Berard has jumped up into play. One time he drew a penalty, another time they had almost a 2-on-1 for Joel Marutu, and that chance there. The Avalanche are going to have to be aware of where Berard is at all times.
Here is Larson getting a loose puck, sets it up now. Nikolitin hit the side of the net. Number 11, Nikolitin has it again. Nikolitin gets to it on the backhand, turns, he's taking out the puck, and now we're going to get a call. And it's going to go against the Blackhawks, so the number 1 rated power play will get another opportunity.
Earlier on, Peter Worrell gets behind the defense, but Anton Babchuk makes a nice dive, and you see he does make contact with the puck. I still think that's pretty close to a tripping penalty. Worrell was able to sneak in between the seam of the defense. Later on, Nikolitin sliding or turning to shoot the puck, and Brian Berard slides, takes his feet out from underneath him. And here's a great chance for the Avalanche, their number 1 rated power play, to get back in the game.
Hawks with a big face-off win, though. They clear it all the way back into the Colorado zone. Derek Morris. Blake, Alex Tanguay. Again, in case you joined us late, Teemu Selanne. A collision yesterday with David Oliver of the Dallas Stars. And Selanne down to the line just for cautionary. Back to Teemu to control the game. Seems to be in good spirits, but just not going to go tonight. Here is Hayduk with it. Sends it back to the line. Morris hands it back to Hayduk. Sets it up now for Rob Blake. Tees it up for a shot that never got through to Leighton. And Tanguay pumps it free. Hayduk gets to it. Back to the line. Avalanche spread it out with a man advantage. Forsberg. Behind the goal line. Hands it off right to the crease. Leighton is down. Makes a save. Rebound. Goes to the top. Blake looking for it. And we got a penalty shot, I believe. That puck was covered in the crease by somebody on Chicago other than the goaltender.
Stefan Robidas is arguing. Obviously, he doesn't have a stick, and he had the puck in his glove, so there's the penalty shot. The Avalanche are going to be able to pick anybody they want to take this penalty shot. I would suspect it would be Milan Hayduk. The puck comes to the front of the net. Rob Blake set up shop in front, and you see Robidas right there. He has the puck underneath him. He's saying it's not in his glove, but as soon as he covers it up with his body, this is a good call by the official. Rob Blake in front of the net. Hayduk shoots it once. The puck comes in. It hits Sullivan's foot, and you see Robidas. Great shot, guys.
Yep.
As Robidas covers it up in front of the net.
This will be the 27th penalty shot of the season. In the first 26 opportunities, the shooter has been successful 9 times.
Philip Solvay told me Milan Hayduk is one of the most deceptive shots on the Colorado Avalanche. Here he goes.
First penalty shot for Hayduk in his career. The first one late past base. And Hayduk scores to make it 3-2.
Dave, there is only one word I can use when I think of that, and that is sick. That a guy can come in and do that like Milan Hayduk. He comes in, look at his patience right here. He freezes him once, right in the roof. Michael Leighton doesn't have a chance. If the guy can put the puck there, it's going in every time. His head up is all the way where he keeps his stick out in front of him. Leighton has to wait for the shot from the Southwest Airlines goal cam. Look at how he freezes him and makes Leighton think that he's going 5-hole. That's a terrific goal by the NHL's leading goal scorer last year, Milan Hayduk, who had 50 goals.
Well, we may have been thinking we were going to see a penalty shot when Peter Worrell got pulled down. We didn't even get a penalty in that situation, and now we get one with a player covering the puck in the crease. Milan Hayduk, first penalty shot goal of his career, and his 21st goal of this season.
You can be assured that Peter Worrell's penalty shot would not have looked anything like that. The discussion on the ice here, Dave, is when a penalty shot is scored, everybody's trying to figure out if it does indeed count as a power play goal or not. Tony Granato was asking that question, and you would think that all the players know all the rules. Well, we don't. They change all the time, and even though a rule like this has been around for a long period of time, most of the players don't know it. The Colorado Avalanche want to make sure, but that will be a power play goal.
Yeah, it is a power play goal. On the penalty shot, it brings Berard out of the box. Score the first 3. The Avalanche have scored 2 straight. The other 5 skaters aside. Nickel is checked along the boards by Stratton. Now Sakic comes down to help out for the Colorado Avalanche. Sakic comes up with a loose puck. Backhands it ahead for Connor Walshut. He clears it off the boards looking for Paul Correa. Well, I haven't said his name much tonight, Correa.
Yeah, Correa's been pretty quiet. He had that one chance from more that almost resulted in a breakaway, but other than that, not much from Correa or Sakic.
Here's a steal by Worrell, but his shot is blocked up into the netting and out of play. Well, one of the most dangerous scorers in the National Hockey League had a penalty shot. He converted. It's a 1-goal game. Hawks with 3 in the first, and the Avalanche with 2 here in the second as Peter Worrell and Tuomo Ruutu fencing with each other and finally separate. Ray, you were in here for a Chicago-Edmonton game a week ago. Chicago got the lead against the Edmonton Oilers and just got to sit back.
Pretty much the same formula as we've seen in this second period. The Blackhawks fell into their trap almost immediately. They lose their aggressiveness that made them so effective in the first period. And we've seen a couple of times, Peter Worrell even took the puck wide on the Chicago defense because they're standing still. They need to be far more aggressive than they've been in this first 12 minutes.
Blackhawks, the only team in the National Hockey League now that has not won consecutive home games. They're coming off a victory here against Calgary. The only other team in the league that was in that situation heading into today was Washington, and they won earlier today 1-0. And here's a shot by Skrastic that's deflected up and out of play.
Peter Forsberg, in my opinion, is the best player in the National Hockey League. He dominates so well below the goal line. He works tremendously well with Milan Hajduk and Alex Tanguay. Back in the lineup, 11 points in his 8 games since he's been back. And Tony Granato will tell you he is the best player in the world, and they're just not anywhere near the same team without him in the lineup.
Tony Granato said recently that Peter Forsberg is just about ready for one of those 5 or 6 point nights. Between the circles, though, here come the Blackhawks threatening. And you talked about Philippe Sauvé, and there was a question whether he might even start this period, but he has made some big saves.
He has really given the Avalanche a chance to get back in this game. That's 3 really good saves in this period.
We've been showing you the top moments between the Chicago Blackhawks and Colorado Avalanche. Throughout the past several years, most of the moments happening in playoff time. And we've got moment number 3 ready to come your way. Here's McKinnon now. Sets it up for Larson. Larson put it right to the goal mouth. Leighton got a pad on it. Skula, that shot skipped all the way through. And Leighton made the save. Back at the line held in. Blake a shot. Blocker save by Leighton. A little bit more urgency to the Avalanche play here in the second period. And the play to the stick came right off.
There's the one-piece, oops, I mean two-piece stick.
Yeah.
We've seen so much about. Stephen Walton's the only player on the Avs that uses a wooden stick. Everybody else uses the graphite or a two-piece stick.
Here's a steal by Korea, sets it up now for Sakic. Sakic the shot. Save made by Leighton. Rebound cleared, and Travis Mullen did not get it out of the zone. Here's Sakic again, looks across, takes the shot instead. Leighton the save. Sakic still with it. Now had the stick ripped out of his hand. And Brian Perez said, I've seen enough of this. And ices it. And now let's take a look at moment number 3 of the top 5. And we go back to 2001. 2 shorthanded goals in a span of 51 seconds. And how about the greatest goaltender of all time? And look at what Sullivan does to him. First the nifty move on the breakaway, and then the high glove.
Steve Sullivan is a nifty player. He's got great hands, terrific speed. He's really struggled this year. 4 goals in his last 28 games before the Calgary game. He's really missed Alexei Zhamnov.
Face-off win by Colorado. Shot here by Derek Morris. Save made by Leighton. That one got through. Now the Hawks had a 16-5 shot advantage at the end of the first period. And the Avalanche making a big dent in that here in this second period of play. The 16-9 advantage, and back the other way now. And the Hawks. And here is Nickel with a shot that was deflected well wide. That play looked like it was offside, but may have been able to hear one of the linemen say no, indicating that the play was okay. Here is Sakic now looking to go wide on Korolev. Sakic pulls up on Strudwick, lost his footing. Tanguay follows at the side of the net. Sakic just checks the puck jammed up, comes free. Quinn trying to clear, and Adam Foote has to go back to center ice.
Dave, Joe Sakic got around Korolev. Korolev is a forward skating backwards.
3-2, the Hawks lead it here late in the second. Well, it's a shame that Darren Pang, who lives in the Chicago area, has to get dressed up like this in disguise in order to come to the rink. I'm just kidding. Absolutely a huge Chicago Blackhawk fan there who was enjoying the first period a lot more than the second period.
It's amazing how a game can turn after a 15-minute break.
Hawks getting goals from Nickel, Bell, and Ruutu in the first period. And the Avalanche, Steve Moore, and Milan Hajduk on the penalty shot here in the second. Coming back to help out. Took a hit from Myerson, but cleared the zone. Here's Anton Babchuk with it now, who's played well in the American Hockey League down in Norfolk and getting an opportunity here with Chicago, his second game of the season. Now a lead pass for Russo, too far for him. Worrell tries to tip it back into the zone. Forsberg checked right at the Chicago blue line. Leduc comes over to help out. Peter Worrell's looking around going, wow, I'm on a line with Forsberg and Leduc.
I bet I'm the luckiest guy in the world, or I'm late for the change here. I think he figured it out in a hurry that it was time to change.
We had a nice chat with Peter Worrell this morning after he did some extra skating work, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But of course, Peter, a former Florida Panther, and Ray, a former Atlanta Thrasher. We're talking about some of their old wars. Yeah, as this puck is tied up at the side of that. Well, Peter Worrell, you know, he's in the league because he's a tough guy. He can shoot the puck pretty well, but he needs work like a lot of guys do, even at this level, Ray, on their skating. And that's Kenny McCudden, who works locally with the Chicago Wolves, but actually with a couple of other organizations, working on the stride of Peter Worrell.
He really wanted to work a lot, and this is the first time that he's worked with Peter on his quickness off the mark. He says from 15 feet out, he's fine, but Worrell is a very willing student. He wants to work a lot with Kenny and really feels like he can help his stride a lot. Worrell's battled some knee tendonitis, and the Avalanche feel that if they can pick up another 5 feet on his stride, which is something that can be done, then he'll be that much more effective as a forechecker. But it's all to Worrell. As hard as he wants to work at it, he'll get it, and he is very willing to do so.
Yeah, he said he's worked with individual skating instructors before, but he said he was having some problems, as you mentioned, because of the tendonitis, and very anxious to work with Kenny McCudden. Improve that stride. You say he had an extra 5 feet with his length and his strength. A couple extra hits per game maybe in on the forecheck.
That may be the difference between turning a puck over for a scoring chance, making yourself a more effective player, so instead of playing 4 minutes a game, you might play 8 or 9 minutes a game, and that's the type of role that Worrell can fill for the Colorado Avalanche.
I also noticed that I had to walk between you and Worrell in the hallway.
You may have noticed I said it's a lot safer here underneath the rink than when I was running away from you on the ice.
Hawks with a 3-2 lead as the Avalanche getting the 2 goals here in the second period to pull it within 1. Dave Strader along with Ray Ferraro. John and Barry back in our studios. Will be along with the intermission report coming up shortly. And let's tell you about the Southwest Intermission Report. John and Barry will be talking about the NFL playoffs. We had overtime again in football today. Will the streak live? Talking about Brian Boucher and power play, one of our features, and that will include Ray Ferraro from right here in Chicago. And we will have moment number 2 in our top 5 moments between the Blackhawks and the Avalanche.
Alexei Zhamnov, the Blackhawks captain, is one of the most experienced Hawk players. And what's happened in the second period, aside from sitting back on their heels, the Hawks are really inexperienced, and that started to show. Your captain has to lead yourself, lead your team out of the hole that they found themselves in right now.
Here is Lyles, knocked down a clearing attempt, screen shot, hit a skate, picked up on the far boards as the Hawks get to it. On the move, here comes Billy Neiman, and Neiman winds up, sends it to the front of the net, redirected by a Colorado player, just wide of that far post.
No!
Wasn't able to hold it in.
Morris almost deflected that puck. He's trying to tip the pass away, but he almost stuck it in the far corner.
Long outlet pass now. And Heinold, who's going to the bench for a change, just drives it deep into the Chicago zone, and we have an icing call. Send it back to the studio, John Butchgrass.
Anaheim began today 8 points out of the final playoff spot in the West, home to Columbus. Vitaly Vishnevsky, one of their better defensemen this year, scores on the backhander past Mark Denis, 1-0 Ducks.
And thank you for that update, John and Barry, along with E.J. Raddick will be on NHL tonight, immediately following our game here in Chicago. John mentioned Anaheim 8 points out of that final playoff spot in the West. Chicago is 12 points out, as they are ahead of only Columbus in the Western Conference standings. Not insurmountable in terms of the overall number, but a lot of teams to pass. But look at this play for Bell. He's his second of the night, and the Hawks regain a 2-goal advantage.
Mark Bell is the beneficiary of a terrific bounce for the Chicago Blackhawks. This puck deflects off one of the Avalanche defensemen. As Zhamnov goes to shoot the puck, it deflects right over to Mark Bell. He's got a wide open net. and he puts it right in the middle of the net. Carlos Krasnich goes out, makes a nice play getting his stick in the shooting lane. That turns into being a one-time pass, and Mark Bell puts it away.
Blackhawk goal, his second of the game,
11th of the season, and Jamnoff, the captain that you mentioned a moment ago, Ray, will probably play. He'll get the assist. Along with Steve Sullivan.
That line has 6 points tonight. Bell, Jamnoff, and Sullivan. Sullivan was by far the most effective player in the first period. But Mark Bell, who is really an emerging leader on this team, they feel like he may be a future captain here. Picks up his 11th goal and really stems the tide of a period that had not gone very well for Chicago.
Well, if the rumors are true and Jamnoff gets traded, there will be a new captain here in Chicago sooner rather than later.
One of the young guys, one of those core guys that they have to build this team around, along with Kyle Calder. Calder scored his first goal the other night in 15 games, but they're the type of players that they feel they have, along with Ruutu, that they can build this team around.
And probably had a whistle there, yes. Stop play.
Brett McLean is another one of those rookies, the 25-year-old from Comox, BC. Made this team out of training camp a little bit of a surprise. They really didn't expect that he would be able to stick 61 points last year in Norfolk, and all he's been able to do is become the 4th leading rookie scorer. And McLean has been very solid, very consistent all season long for Chicago.
Jamnoff wins the draw there from Forsberg. Forsberg quickly gets in on Strudwick. The Hawks able to play it out to center ice. Not get it into the Colorado zone. Less than a minute remaining in the period. Here comes Tanguay. Tanguay slides it across. And Strudwick just did tie up Milan Hajduk. Hajduk hands it off Forsberg. And his centering attempt intercepted. He passed off the skate of Sullivan. Here's Forsberg up the left side. Puts on the brakes. And it was knocked away by Darren Quinn. Sullivan will just send it in deep. Under half a minute remaining here in the second period. Colorado get back to touch it nicely. Here's the call against Colorado. Well, you logged on to ESPN.com and you have spoken. We are listening. The program department says we will have Pittsburgh and Philadelphia tomorrow, although I think Bill Clement, who's working this game with Steve Levy, had the folks in Philadelphia vote off, and he didn't want to get on a plane and travel. But NHL tonight will follow the game. Jeremy Roenick and the Flyers taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, Bill drives down the street for a true home game.
That's right. We'll still put in for a full day's per diem.
It looks like he knows how to work that expensive point. That's being a veteran.
Absolutely. Philadelphia struggles of late as this period comes to an end, and boy, it's really been two different games. First period, all Blackhawks. The Avalanche started a comeback, but it's 4-2 Chicago. Southwest intermission is next. And welcome back to the United Center here in Chicago, where the Blackhawks lead 4-2 over the Colorado Avalanche, and the penalty shot by Milan Hajduk. Did he ever make it look easy?
He sure did. He shows a lot of patience, and as good goal scorers do, you see Robidon cover the puck in the crease. A good call by the official. He freezes Leighton right here. Makes Leighton think that he's going to go 5-hole. Watch Leighton close his legs, and as he closes them, Hajduk makes no mistake sticking it right under the bar. Tony Granato gets Forsberg's line out there again. They've been by far their best line. Joe Sakic and Paul Kariya have been pretty invisible in this game, and they're going to need that line if they expect to get back in this game.
Sakic playing less than 11 minutes in the first two periods. But he is wearing the protective shield over the broken jaw. As Tanguay dumps it deep into the Chicago zone. And now it is off the stick of Hajduk, picked up by Skratkic, and his shot does not get all the way through. Now Forsberg centering pass. Tanguay was there, but the Hawks get to it and clear it all the way down the ice. And Survey comes out to play it. Sweeps it ahead to Tanguay, trying to catch the Blackhawks on a change here. The Avalanche changing as well. Travis Moan got Got a piece of that puck. Sakic got over there to help out. He's in center ice. Robidas stepped up for the Blackhawks, but now Martin Skula slides it across. Blake. He is checked at center ice by Brett McLean, who led the Hawks in ice time through the first 2 periods at just over 16 minutes. I mean, usually it's a defenseman.
Very rare that a forward would lead a team in ice time, in particular when there hasn't been 6 or 7 power plays.
This puck cleared by Blake all the way back into the Chicago zone. This will be icing on the touch-up. Gives us a chance to remind you that we've got the NHL on ESPN, Made in America, delivered on Thursdays. Coming up Thursday night, it will be the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche. Jason Arnott will wear a mic for some on-ice audio. NHL on ESPN HD for the first time this season, and Barry Melrose as a sideline reporter. Well, he's going to have to work a little bit. He's going to have to hustle. He's going to have to move.
Barry may be the only sideline reporter that doesn't move out of the Zamboni entrance.
Well, the stories will come to him.
They always do, don't they? They always do. Brad Larson getting some ice time for Colorado. He's a guy that had been up and down, a depth guy for the Avalanche. And with the injuries, he's been able to stick around a little bit for Colorado. But if he's going to get minutes in a period like this, they need him to provide energy. He and Worrell got to get in, get some bumps on the Chicago defense, try and generate some momentum for the offensive guys.
Well, the Chicago Blackhawks, as good as the first period has been to them of late, we showed you that the third period not so kind. The 46 goals that Brian Sutter's club has given up. Saw Peter Worrell having some words with the Chicago bench as he went by. Well, back to the line, and this shot here by Aitken did not get through. And at center ice, it is McAllister playing it ahead for Heino. Aitken takes him to the board. United Center crowd, which is announced at a little better than 15,000. Appreciating the hard work of the Hawks here tonight, trying to finally win consecutive games on their home ice. They'll be the last team in the NHL to accomplish that. John Butchergrass mentioned in that second intermission, Colorado's won the last 6 games between these 2 teams. Chicago trying to put an end to that here tonight. You mentioned, Ray, too, about Chicago maybe being a little bit pressured with the days off. This is one of only 9 times this season that Colorado will play games on back-to-back days. That is the fewest in the National Hockey League.
And as far as back-to-backs, this is as easy as it gets.
Yeah.
They played in the afternoon yesterday. It's not a true back-to-back when you play at night.
Here is Blake. Knocked away, and a lead pass here for Sullivan, though he's got to chase it down, and Adam Foote has the angle on him. And that was a 2-line pass. Sullivan says, wait a minute, that wasn't right, was it?
Well, he's wondering why it's a 2-line pass, but as it wasn't really a pass, it was deflected off a Blackhawk player. You see their line tonight has had a terrific night. They've been explosive. They forechecked pretty well. In the middle of the second period, they, along with the rest of the Blackhawks, fell a little bit back on their heels, but Bell's goal has restored that 2-goal cushion.
Berard plays it off the glass back into the Colorado zone. No icing here. It's going to be chased down by Lyles. Moves it up the boards. Hawks able to knock it down. Got Nickel moving it in deep for Nieminen. He was taken out the play by Derek Morris, and back comes Colorado now. Here's Paul Kariya with some speed. Hands it off, goes to the front of the net. And the half shot sailed wide. Kariya tries to go back to the point. That was anticipated by Korolev. Plays it ahead for Nickel, and the play just offside. Well, we mentioned that Teemu Selanne is not in, Ray, because of this hit.
He told us just before the game that if any part of David Oliver would have hit Selanne's shoulder, he felt he would have been all right, but he took it right on the jaw. He went down. Said this morning he rode the bike. He felt a little bit of a pulse in his forehead, which is basically a way of saying that you're not quite right. They decided to hold Selanne out. He feels like he'll play in the next game. But the Avs, they have all this vaunted power. They just cannot get all 6 guys, top 6 forwards in the lineup at the same time.
Now Aitken slides it across. Vandenbush, who hasn't played much tonight, but had that scrap with Peter Worrell earlier. Hawks with a 4-2 lead, and just under 16 minutes still to play against one of the top scoring teams in the league. Colorado club, one of just 3 in the league, averaging 3 goals a game or better. McLean for Chicago sends it deep into the Colorado zone. And it's out to center right. Stefan Robidas back to get it. There's a steal by Tanguay. Sets it up for Hayduk. Hayduk tried to make a little move, and as he did, Robidas checked him. And it comes to Mark Bell. Bell's pass didn't get much on that.
This period's been played at the pace that favors Chicago and not Colorado.
Forsberg trying to make a play. And it's chipped away, though, by the Hawk. Sullivan waiting for that puck to come down, but it made a strange pop there at center ice.
Colorado just cannot seem to get their speed of attacking the game. The Blackhawks have 5 guys standing in the neutral zone. Most of the time, all 5 of them are going backwards. It makes it very difficult to push the play.
Here comes Moore coming in looking for his second goal. Late in the save, and a collision knocks the net off its support. And that may have been the first shot on goal that we've had in this period by either team.
Moore, who had a goal in the second period, takes this puck wide around Brian Berard. Watch him drive it to the net. Now he shoots this and hits Leighton right in the middle of the Blackhawk crest from the Southwest Airlines goal cam. You see the shot comes. Moore does not take the puck farther across the front of the net. He's not a guy that's had big numbers in the National Hockey League or in the minor leagues for that matter. He was more of a scorer in college. If he hangs on to that puck one more second, he's going to have more space in the top of the net to put it in. It takes a lot of courage to go across the front of the net. Moore drove it in from the right wing. He just didn't hang on to it long enough.
Mentioned he played his college hockey at Harvard. He was the captain of that team his senior year.
His brother plays in the Rangers organization. They actually had a game against each other for the first time earlier this season.
Nickel with a shot that sails up over the glove. Philippe Sauvé getting the nod tonight instead of David Amershur. Correa clears it now. Sakic hands it off for Moore. Back for Sakic. And the play would have been offside. Colorado winding up a road trip here. They'll go home to play their next 3 at the Pepsi Center against Anaheim, Dallas, and then San Jose. Big puck in the Chicago zone is picked up by Sakic. Quick shot, save, late rebound. He didn't clear it as far away as he wanted, but Nickel comes up with it. And it's sent all the way down the ice. Touch up by Blake. It is a 4-2 Chicago lead in the third. Face off deep in the Chicago zone here with 13:54 remaining in the third period. The Hawks scored the first 3 goals of this game. Avalanche got back to within 1 on a penalty shot goal by Milan Hayduk. Chicago regained the 2 goal advantage late in that second period. Scramble along the board. Mark Bell, who had 2 of the Chicago goals, failed to clear the zone. And here is Strudwick with it now. Well, the Hawks hands it off for Sullivan. Sullivan plays it ahead for Shamnov. Surrounded, though, by 3 Colorado players, and Blake wraps it back to center ice.
Darren Quint has played a good game for Chicago. He's played a lot against the Forsberg line. He's been effective keeping Forsberg away from the front of the net where he's so dangerous. Quint is a guy that has to play a lot of minutes now with some of the injuries. Steve Popst is out of the lineup, who has been a journeyman around his NHL career but has really found a home here in Chicago, as well as Nathan Dempsey out of the lineup. So Quint is the guy that gets his minutes vaulted up to play against Peter Forsberg.
Aaron Quinn, a native of Durham, New Hampshire, former first pick of the Winnipeg Jets back in '94. Although it wasn't in the first round. 30th overall that year is Berard now plays it ahead all the way to Sauvé. Sauvé looking to clear it off the glass. Nickel moved in and got a skate on it for Chicago. McLean played it deep in the half zone, but Colorado comes out with it through center ice. Here is Sakic, drops it back. Moore trying to throw it back to the front of the net. Sakic has it again. Sakic stuffs it to the front. Correa's there. Didn't have any room to make a move, and Leighton just stayed right with him.
Leighton gets down and covers the bottom of the net off the nice forecheck play by Sakic, and that line has not done that enough tonight for Colorado.
Now Leighton comes down to the corner to play the puck up the boards, and he got it by Larson. Wheeler rolls it across Blake, plays it to center ice. Good job by Jonathan Aiken, who's been physical here in this third period. Worrell picks up the loose puck and just had it knocked away. Arneson and Tuomo Rutu. The left man coming is Kyle Calder. It's picked up from an angle. Shot taken by Arneson. He's off the mark, but the Avalanche fail to clear the zone. Second effort, Worrell will get it out of there.
This is an area of the third line for Colorado, in particular with Solani out of the lineup, that they are looking to address as it comes closer to the trading deadline. They do not have much offense on their third and fourth lines, and if a team shuts down one of their big lines, like happening tonight, they really get into a quandary as to who's going to score for them.
Icing the call.
Paul Kariya's missed 31 games this year with wrist injuries. And I think he's looked a little tentative tonight. Joe Sakic makes a nice play here, getting the puck away from Nickel. Kariya doesn't drive this across the front of the net at all. He just tries to sweep it to the front of the net. Paul Kariya, when he's healthy, takes that 2 strides across the front of the net and gets it up towards the top of the net. But to me, anytime he's been near traffic tonight, and it's understandable missing so much time on both similar type injury situations, that he is a little tentative.
Well, the Avalanche so much made about the deal that brought Kariya and Solani, former teammates in Anaheim, together as a package deal to Colorado, and for a bargain price. Here is Tanguay, drop pass for Foot, come back to Foot, and just tipped away. And it was Aiken that made the defensive play. He sends it ahead now for Billy Niemanen. Niemanen checked there by Foot, who came back. Now forward first for Hayduk. Hayduk's pass, and it's just offside at the Chicago blue line. Alex Tanguay is one of the 6 all-star forwards that people were talking about with the addition of Kariya and Solani. Hayduk, Tanguay, Forsberg, Sakic, Solani, and Kariya have been together for only 8 games. Now you can see in just those 8 games, averaging about 3.5 goals per game, without them averaging less than 3. And you can imagine if they had some time to really develop some chemistry.
Well, Solani and Kariya, they played together in Anaheim, and they had terrific chemistry, but they haven't played with Joe Sakic for a few games, and Joe Sakic plays a lot different than Steve Rucha, who was their center in Anaheim, does. So they need some time together, and the hope for them is that they'll get it in the last month and a half or 2 months of the season.
Steve Moore driving the front of the net, and this puck is covered up. Well, don't forget, NHL Tonight is following our game. John Butchergross, Barry Melrose, and E.J. Raddick will be along. And they'll recap all the day's action, have all the highlights from around the NHL. NHL Tonight, the best way to follow the action of every game. They'll talk about Boucher's magical run, top 10 unbreakable records, and Cinderella Soiree. I would think the #1 unbreakable record has to be Glenn Hall's 502 consecutive games played in goal. I think it's the most unbreakable record in any sport.
There is no chance. There is no chance any of us will see that record ever approach.
Yeah.
Marty Brodeur plays over 70 games a year, and it's a gigantic story that he plays that much.
Yeah.
Glenn Hall did it, and they were playing 58 games a year back then. That's a lot of years in a row.
Here is Sakic now trying to make something happen. Put it to the front of the net. Score! Lyles, the defenseman, got in there. And suddenly we have a 1-goal game again.
We had talked about how this line had been quiet for the Colorado Avalanche, Joe Sakic and Paul Kariya in particular. But Sakic makes a nice play. Look at his patience behind the net. And Lyles, right to the front of the net, he takes it to the backhand. Layton's down a little early because he's trying to cover the wraparound attempt, but he does not get back up, and Lyles makes a terrific shot right up into the top of the net to make it 4-3.
4th of the year for John Michael Lyles, native of nearby Zionsville, Indiana.
He was a little bit of a surprise making the Avalanche out of training camp. His size is a hindrance. He's not real big at just 5'10", but he skates really well. You see he has terrific hands. He's a leading defensive scorer at Michigan State. So offensively, the kid can produce, and he's really done a nice job defensively for the Avalanche. He gets them within 1.
Ulla dumps it in. Now Layton plays it up the boards for the Blackhawks. Taken by Korolev. Here's Berard joining the rush. Look at him. Poked away. Now here's Korolev, and that is a 2-line pass. 1-goal games have not been kind to the Blackhawks. 6-14 so far, but right now they've got the 1-goal lead. Can they hang on? by the Colorado defense this season. That leads the NHL. And they've added in the system Paul Correa to go along with Sakic. Forsberg centering attempt. Tanguay was there. And you still, Ray Ferraro has almost half a period to play. You're Colorado. You've not played well by your standards. You're down by a goal. It's one shot with all the great shooters you have in the lineup.
And that's where you hope that the reason that makes these players great is not just their skill level, but their heart. And you hope that it shows through in the last 9 minutes of the game. The Forsberg line is the line that is the most dangerous line for Colorado. And one of the reasons, not just because of their high skill level, but because of the way they can cycle the puck in the offensive zone. Hejduk, Tanguay, and Forsberg feed off of each other very well. They move the puck around in the corner, and none of the three of them are scared to take it to the net. A lot of guys cycle the puck in the corner until the cows come home, and they never get a chance. If you don't take it to the front of the net, nothing happens.
There's Wiles who scored that last Colorado goal. Out there with Correa. Walchuk, Sakic. Now it comes to Paul Correa. He just deflects it out to center ice. Gerard backing up, trying to play it toward the Colorado zone. Now the Hawks regain inside their own blue line. Robidon from center ice flips it deep into the Colorado zone. And just over 8.5 remaining here in the third period. Our number one moment had to do with a verbal exchange.
I like Patrick's quote that he would have stopped me. I just want to know where he was in Game 3. Probably getting his jock out of the stands out of the Rafters United Center. Man.
I can't really hear what Jeremy says because I got my 2 Stanley Cup rings plugged in my ear.
Patrick needs another set of ears to stick his other 2 Stanley Cup rings in as well. That was one of the best right there.
Oh, great exchange. Now Patrick Roy, great goaltender. Not only for what he did on the ice, but he was one of those guys, Ray, that would stand up in the room and say something when it needed to be said. And it's usually not a goaltender that does that, but he was a leader.
Very rarely you'll see a goaltender that does that a great deal. I played with Ron Hextall. He was another guy that did it. But Patrick Roy, being as good as he was and the leader that he was, made him a special player. We haven't talked much about David Abisher, who's not playing tonight for the Avalanche. He came into the season as the #1 goaltender, and there was a lot of talk whether Colorado could compete at all with Abisher in goal. And they were certainly going to go out and get a veteran. Well, he's been terrific this year.
Here's Shamnon on a run. Save made by Sauve. And he hangs on. And you mentioned David Abisher, who's backing up Sauve tonight. There he is. And he did get up and say something after he gave up an overtime goal in Nashville earlier on this road trip. A game that Colorado led 2-0, lost 4-3. He said, hey, that's on me. I should not have given that goal up. If you take a look at the numbers comparing Abisher and Waugh through 32 games, and Abisher's numbers certainly do stack up very well.
They do, and I guess until David Abisher has a chance to win a Stanley Cup, everything will be linked to Patrick Roy and how he does. How does he replace Roy? How does he fill the net instead of Patrick Roy? But I think he's exceeded what Colorado thought they were going to get from him this early in the season. I saw him play a game in Vancouver. It was December 11th, 1-1 tie. And that was a big game because the Canucks were really charging hard at that time, and Colorado didn't play particularly well. Yeah. But Abisher built a lot of confidence for his Colorado teammates by his play that night.
Hejduk with speed on the backhand, still control, sends it up here. Morris, a shot saved late. Boy, a lot of the Avalanche were trapped deep, but they hustled to get back. One more route two inside the zone, sweeps it to the front of the Colorado net, and Forsberg comes back to get it. Well, if the Avalanche acquire a goaltender, and I think they're still very much looking, it won't be necessarily to find a #1. It'll be to get a veteran backup to back up Abisher. Here's a shot, score! Through a screen! Carlos scratched it. I don't think realized that puck was in. He shot it, and then looked like he was turning to head back up the ice. The red light went on. He said, I better celebrate. We have a tie hockey game.
Carlos Grastic, who was one of the unheralded signings in the offseason, takes this puck. This is a goal that should not go in. It's a clear look for Michael Leighton. And for the second goal in a row, I think Leighton's down on his knees too quickly in his butterfly. He needs to stay up a little bit more. That's not Milan Hajduk shooting the puck at you, but Strastic has been a pleasant surprise for the Colorado Avalanche. He's really helped anchor their penalty kill. He scored an overtime winner in New York earlier in the season. He scores a tying goal with 6.5 minutes here tonight. Gives Colorado a chance to win again.
Forsberg gets the only assist. We showed you that Chicago struggles in the third period. Colorado's a good third period team.
Peter Forsberg has just eaten up the Chicago Blackhawks this season. His assist there gives him assists each of the 3 games, but 14 assists in the last 6 games against Chicago. That's just unbelievable.
Colorado now has scored 43 third period goals this season, giving up only 31. So they are a team that gets stronger, continues to attack down the stretch, and no icing here. Steve Moore at one of the Colorado goals continues to battle. Hands it off for Nikolic. High note is there as well. Under 5.5 remaining in regulation. A lot of hard work by this line, and a wraparound attempt by High note is covered up by Leighton. Hasn't been a great night for the Colorado Avalanche, but with the kind of talent they have, they can close the gap in a hurry. Just back to live action here on a face-off in the Chicago zone. The Avalanche have tied the game at 4 with just over 5 minutes remaining in regulation as Michael Leighton ties this up, and we go back to John Butchergrass. All right, we'll get to John in just a moment. I'm sure he was ready. You think?
I would hope he is.
Yeah. Well, Carlos Strastic has scored the most recent goals. I mentioned his third. John Michael Lyles, another defenseman, scored his 4th of the year, and Steve Moore earlier tonight scored his 2nd.
There's some depth of the Avalanche that maybe you don't know you have until you get into an injury situation like they have.
Very great centering attempt there for Sakic, and that shot had a chance. Didn't miss by much. Here's Konowalchuk now, working against Robitaille. Robitaille lost his stick, puck comes free. Here's Correa with it, centering pass. Sakic stopped by Leighton. There's puck. Leighton is down. Does he have it covered? Yes, he does.
Robitaille's lost his stick a couple of times tonight. One resulted in the penalty shot when he covered it in the goal crease. Here he loses it in the corner battling for the puck. With a defenseman without his stick is basically useless. You can't do anything with it. The pass comes out of the corner, and you see him grabbing on, but doesn't want to grab on too hard to Konowalchuk, who gets the rebound of Sakic's shot. Leighton's able to keep the puck out of the net. There's no question the Blackhawks are back on their heels.
Yeah.
They haven't crossed center ice in the last couple of minutes.
Just 2 shots on goal here in the third period for the Chicago Blackhawks. Here is Sullivan on a turnover. Got Bell with him. Sullivan drives a shot. Beauvais gets a piece of that, deflects it wide. Bell keeps it deep. Sullivan is there. Looks to hand it off now for Shamrock. Puck comes free, and Strastic has it now for the Avalanche. Deflected by Hajduk. Now Bell. Collision at center ice. Avalanche come up with the puck. Nikolic moves it over on the near side. It's picked up by Moore, just streaking into the Chicago zone. Moore had it knocked away by Arneson. The Avalanche are much quicker to the puck here in the third period than they were earlier in the night.
And you wouldn't think that would be the case as their legs should be getting more tired as the second night of back-to-back games wears on, but they've had a lot more energy in this third period.
3.5 remaining here in regulation. Referee wants the players to move the puck, and the Chicago player goes down on top of it. John Butchergrass is ready.
While the people watch The Simpsons on Sunday night, Dave, 1-1 in Anaheim, it's Todd Simpson. Simpson, I like the medal of that man. 2-1 in Anaheim.
All right, John, thanks very much. NHL Tonight with John and Barry and E.J. Raddick joining them. Take a look at some of the top stories around the National Hockey League. I'm sure they'll have another look at that penalty shot by Milan Hajduk that we had here tonight.
And you would think they'll get a little more in-depth to Brian Boucher and his terrific streak for the Phoenix Coyotes.
Miles goes back to the touch-up. Well, the Avalanche were down by 2, but again, with this kind of firepower, you figure they could come back. But it wasn't the household names that got the goals.
Those second period goals highlighted by Hayduk's penalty shot. Here Lyles with a nice move in front of the net. Backhand up top on Leighton. And Strastic ends up tying the goal on a shot that I think Leighton should have stopped. He should have been up on his feet a lot longer than he was.
Korea across, and a blue line shot there by Derek Morris was stopped by Leighton. And Kyle Calder able to clear it for the Hawks. Under 3 minutes now remaining here in the third period. Here's Connor Walchuk. Tyler Anderson right on him. Now it comes to Sakic. Sakic got near the blue line. Continues to hang on to it. Now he hands it on for Strastic. Tries to go back to Sakic, who was tied up on the play. And now the Hawks route to between the circles. Couldn't get a shot away. Good back check there by Connor Walchuk. Very conscientious two-way player. Tries to turn it right back into the Colorado zone. Forsberg would have none of that. Here comes Hajduk. One-on-one against Quinn. Hajduk still has it. Sends it across now for Foot. Foot to the net. Shot was blocked before it got to Michael Leighton. Tyler Anderson up the boards for Korolev. Korolev chips it off the wall. And Foot back to get it.
One of the major differences between these teams is you can see the mobility of Colorado's defense versus Chicago as a bunch of big guys that don't move quite as well. You're not able to move the puck out of your zone.
Well, we talked about the difference in productivity in the third period. Avalanche plus 12, including the 2 goals they have here tonight. The Blackhawks minus 18.
Really tough to win any hockey games when you have that big a differential in the third period. In particular, when you don't score a lot of goals to begin with. You're always in a tight game. You get down a couple goals, you just don't have the firepower to get back in.
There's Korolev with it, sends it across now for Billy Nieminen, just out of his reach. Nikolica tries to make a play. Moore is there, but the Hawks come up with it. But not for long. It is driven right back into the Chicago zone.
Quick shifts for the Avalanche towards the end of the game. The last 5 or 6 minutes, they've been going 25 seconds a shift.
Less than a minute and a half remaining in regulation. Will it take overtime to settle this? Or does somebody have a late regulation goal?
I think Colorado would be thrilled to get to overtime with the way that they've played this game.
Here's a turnover in the neutral zone. Sullivan winds up, takes a shot. Now he gives it back to the lane man, Berard, and a save by Sullivan. Bell wheels and fires. That is blocked. Less than a minute remaining in regulation. And the play is offside at the Colorado blue line.
In this onslaught of Avalanche goals, 4 of the last 5 have been off of their sticks as the play of Philip Sauve. Sauve's really made some good saves, keeping the Avs in this game as they've built their comeback. He hasn't had a whole lot to do in the third period, but he's made a couple of saves, in particular in the second period on the power play through traffic. One shot by Zhamnov in particular, right down the gut. Sauve was able to get a blocker on it. He's really played well in the last 35 minutes.
Buck up, spray on it was Hajduk that had the chance. And back comes Kyle Calder now, charging into the Avalanche zone. Sets it up for route 2. 38 seconds left here in regulation time. Picked up by Darren Quinn. His shot up in the air off the glove of Sauve over the net. Forsberg tries to clear the zone. Tanguay gets to it. Chips it back to Forsberg. He and Tanguay play throw and check. Tanguay up the left wing side. Tried to throw it around the defenseman Strudwick. Forsberg is held up as he made a move for the puck. Forsberg knocks the puck free behind the net, tries to jam it back in front, and he had Leighton completely going the other way. And the puck bounces out to center ice under 10 seconds to go here. Calder comes up with it, trying to split the defense. And it's Adam Foote that will take it away, and we are going to have to play overtime. Now 4-4 is our score. heading to overtime. There you see the Avalanche 5-2-7 so far in overtime. The Hawks just 1-4-7, and the guy you might want to keep an eye on, Colorado, Steve Konowalchuk. Last time the two teams played here,
Steve Konowalchuk with a couple of goals, deflection winner. He scored 2 of them that night. Konowalchuk's really been a godsend for the Avalanche. They traded for him from the Washington Capitals, where he was the Capitals captain, for Bates Battaglia. He's filled a variety of roles for the Avalanche as guys have been out of the lineup. He's played sub-center, he's played left wing, he's played right wing. He's really helped kill penalties as well. And you talk a lot about the skill level of the Avs, but you cannot win without grit, and Konowalchuk has brought that to the Avalanche.
and we talked about Philippe Sauvé, who gave up those 3 goals in the first period. Would Tony Granato make the move and bring in David Abisher? Granato stayed in there.
And he showed some faith in him, didn't he, Dave? You know, by leaving him in there. I thought he would really think about taking him out of the net and putting Abisher in, but he showed some faith, and Sauvé rewarded him.
4 skaters aside here for the overtime. Sauvé has that puck come dangerously into the crease area, and he decides he better just cover it up there.
A lot of times when you play overtime and you see teams from different conferences, they will gamble a little bit more. I think this is a situation where both teams can gamble, even though they're in the same conference. They're not fighting for the same playoff position.
No, there's 20 points separating them, so they're at different ends of the conference. You're right.
They are. You know, Colorado's trying to win the division against Vancouver. Chicago's trying to make the playoffs. They might as well take chances and try and win the game.
Sakic took a chance there and turned it over, but his teammates bail him out as Morris comes back, hands it off to Lyles. Morris, Lyles, Sakic, and Correa. Tony Granato's forced him to start the overtime. Here is Lyles with it, with some speed into the Chicago zone. Lyles sends it toward the net, deflected up over top. Now Correa tried to jam it back for Sakic. And here's Berard with it. Ryan Berard has it roll off his stick. We played 1 minute of the overtime. Here is Blake. Ahead for Konowalchuk, and slides it in just wide. And comes out high on the far side. Jamnov giving a hook there. The crowd here at United Center wanted a penalty. Nothing coming. Sullivan's pass nearly broken up by Tanguay. Sullivan has it back. Tanguay takes Sullivan down, and that's going to be a penalty. It's a delayed call here. I guess they say that Tanguay touched the puck.
Terrible penalty by Alex Tanguay, 150 feet from his own net. And when you get to overtime in 4-on-4, you have to be really careful about taking penalties. Now, clearly he takes Steve Sullivan's feet out. Now this will be a 4-on-3 power play, which is far more dangerous than a 5-on-4 power play. The Blackhawks are going to take their time out and try and make sure they have everybody in the right positions.
Well, you logged on to ESPN.com, told us what you wanted to see tomorrow night in our Ice Picks game on ESPN2, the battle for Keystone State bragging rights. And it'll be Jeremy Roenick and the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. NHL Tonight will follow the game that begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. For more, log on to ESPN.com. So Brian Sutter's club on the power play, and Brian drawing something up there.
It's a lot of ink on the board.
Wow.
And what you look at on a 4-on-3 is, if they start with their 2 defensemen on the blue line, I'm sure they'll have 3 forwards on the ice. Berard will be the only defenseman. Watch them slide into more of an umbrella play and try and get a one-timer off the wings.
And meanwhile, the potential future brother-in-law of Ray Ferraro looks a little bit worried. And not about being your brother-in-law potential. I think he's a little bit worried about being shorthanded in a 4-on-3 situation.
No, maybe he's worried about that too.
And here is Berard into the zone. Sends it in deep. For those of you that don't know, Ray Ferraro and Tony's sister Candy very much an item.
And she's by far the better hockey player of the 2 of us, I can tell you that.
Here is Sullivan. Now for Jamnov. Jamnov top of the circle. Jamnov takes it deep. 4-on-3 power play here in overtime. Tanguay is in the box. Sullivan sends it back to the line. Berard on the far side for Jamnov.
This is what they were drawing on the board. Jamnov at the top of the box.
Hands it off Berard, now to Sullivan. Over the front of the net, and Blake saved what would have been a great scoring chance by blocking the centering pass. Sullivan slides it across. Berard holds it in. Winds up, takes the shot. Deflected just wide. Rebound bounces out in front, and it's cleared. And the Hawks have to go back, get onside. They do very quickly.
Two fresh guys for Colorado.
Far side, Jamnow fakes to Berard. It comes to Sullivan. A shot was blocked in the crease. Sauvé able to cover up.
The only one of the Colorado Avalanche that did not get a chance to change was Rob Blake. Blake made 2 saving plays right in front of the net. And then as Sullivan had the one-timer on the last shot, Blake knocks him down. Right here, he blocks 1 shot. Sullivan hits the 2nd shot, but Blake knocks him over. Rob Blake's just a terrific hockey player. Probably a guy that's going to get a lot of votes for the Norris Trophy.
Avs control the face-off, 45 seconds remaining in the Chicago power play, but here comes Adam Foote now, and he just puts it deep into the Chicago zone. Colorado can kill off the rest of this penalty. Keep an eye on Tanguay when he comes out of the box. That could be a more dangerous situation like this. 50-footer stopped by Sauvé. Rebound for Ruutu, and the save made by Sauvé. As Tuomo Ruutu, who has a goal tonight, came very close to ending this one.
Ruutu had such a slow start to his rookie season with very high expectations. Somebody, his agent, said that, geez, he reminds me a lot of Peter Forsberg. Well, he's got a long way to go to be Peter Forsberg. But watch this tenacity. He goes through the check, gets a nice shot on goal. Sauvé makes the save. He has a goal already. He's played much better of late.
Face-off control by the Avalanche, and the puck cleared by Morris all the way down the ice. 20 seconds left in the Tanguay penalty. Here comes Chicago, perhaps time for one more rush to the man advantage in the overtime. Berard makes a move. Puck rolls in. Sauvé calmly steers it off. And it's cleared all the way down the ice by Morris. And that's going to do it for the Tanguay penalty. He's set to come out of the box.
Tanguay very happy. The Avs have dodged the bullet.
Here comes Jamnow. Little drop pass for Sullivan. Sullivan's shot blocked. Tanguay has it. And they could have the Blackhawks caught here. Forsberg into the zone between the circles. Hands it off. Tanguay waits. Shoots. Scores! Alex Tanguay in overtime. And how about the reaction of Philippe Sauvé, the goaltender at the other end, pumping his hand.
Philippe Sauvé came from almost getting yanked out of this game after the first period, and now he gets a win on his total. This is a very disappointing loss for Brian Sutter and the Chicago Blackhawks. And there is a pretty good instance and an example of what the Colorado Avalanche can do for you. They kill a penalty. John Michael Lyles makes this play on the 3-on-2 going to the net, and that's another shot that Leighton's got to stop. He tried to stay up a little longer, but look where his angle is. It's not a very good angle. Tanguay shoots the puck over Robida, and he beats Michael Leighton up on the glove side.
55 points now for Colorado, puts them within 1 of Vancouver for that division lead, all important in the Western Conference race, and with a game in hand. 5-4, the final score in a game that the Avalanche trailed at one time 3-0. The NHL on ESPN2 continues tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN2 with the Ice Picks game that you selected, Pittsburgh taking on Philadelphia. Coming up next is NHL Tonight. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Ray Ferraro and the rest of our crew here in Chicago, I'm Dave Strader. Thanks for joining us. The Avalanche win it in overtime. NHL Tonight is